All right, here we are with Gavin Lambert. Gavin, for some people out there that might not know about your high school career, let's give a recap of your 4 years of your high school wrestling career at Hastings High School.
Freshman year, started out JV like usual. I wasn't expecting anything big. I would say I got somewhat better from the improvement from freshman year to sophomore year. But once again, like throughout my freshman and junior year, I was like always a backup behind two very tough kids in our wrestling team. Well, one still is there, Trey Beisel, and then one's a gopher now, Blake. And I was always stuck behind them. But my time behind them always made me think about like, hey, these kids are here to push me and get better like every day. And then finally, once my senior year came, I flipped the switch. I became a starter, made a sacrifice, cut some weight, and I did pretty dang well my senior year, I'd say.
Yeah, so when you say pretty dang well, let's give a recap of your senior year then. Obviously, as you said, you're behind Trey and Blake Beisel for most of your high school career. And as we're just saying a little bit off camera here, that you were just a great practice partner in the room. And one of the cool things about you, Gavin, is that you always stayed ready. And I know we probably threw you out to the wolves and some really tough competitors and some tough matches your first 2 to 3 years of high school, but then you were always ready every single time you got thrown out there. But I think the cool thing that you just said too, Gavin, is that you're a great practice partner and that you kept on getting better and better and better every single year. So let's talk about getting better and better every single year, because I know there's some things that went into that. Talk about the summer camp, talk about freestyle and Greco, talk about Northern Plains. That all really led up to your senior year, and then we'll deep dive into your senior year.
Okay. So as well as, freestyle and Greco season and like going to summer camps constantly. Think I started summer camp around my freshman year, kept going it all the way through high school. And then, which led me to obviously getting better day by day at the summer camps, trying to put in work. And then freestyle came along to my sophomore year. I started freestyle going in my junior year and getting in that extra time during, learning two different styles and getting more mat time, maybe better and better every single practice, just getting the most experience I could and training to the best of my ability always made me better.
Perfect. So as we kind of alluded to earlier, you were behind Trey and Blake Beisel for most of your high school career. Senior year rolls around, probably the same story that you've seen here, and you had to make a little bit of a sacrifice. You really did a great job with your weight the whole senior year. You wrestled 113 your senior year. And once again, let's deep dive in your senior year, how the year started out, and then how the year ended for you.
So my senior year started out first tournament of the year. Started out at 21. Thought I was gonna wrestle 27 that entire year, and then plans obviously changed in the sport of wrestling. So after I went 21 for the first tournament of the year, around December time, my senior year, went down to 114. And first, it's a little rough hanging out there with good kids at 114 and was gassed or whatnot because I made a pretty big cut. But as soon as the year started going on mid-season, I felt more confident at that weight class. After bi-state 2, I took 7th, and then the class rolled along, and I went 4-1 or 4-2 at that tournament. Faced a couple nationally ranked kids, and I kept it somewhat close, and I got pretty confident from there.
Season kept going along, and we roll into the individual section tournament. So let's talk about that, and then the state tournament as well, because obviously we made it that year as a team, and you had a lot of success in the team portion. And then we could talk about the individual portion as well.
All right, so coming around the individual sections, I was feeling obviously at my highest there. Didn't really think much about it. There could be some crazy kid in your bracket still takes second. I was a 1 year starter, but then I came out swinging individuals and I took first. I basically ran through the tournament. It was questionable if there was some crazy, like, competitive aspect to that bracket, but at the same time, it didn't like really matter because I was a first year starter. It's my first time being at that tournament, and it was all about the experience going out there, getting the opportunity to maybe go wrestle at state.
Perfect. Team portion as well. Talk about that your senior year, and then obviously individual. You won one match in the individual tournament, I believe, right?
I won all three.
Well, the team portion, you won all three, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you went 3-0 in the team. We ended up taking sixth place as a team, and then individual it didn't go quite as you planned. You came out just a little short to the kid that ended up taking sixth place, I believe. But once again, just amazing accomplishment to make it to the state tournament, qualify individually, lead your team to a sixth place finish. So really capped off your senior year on a really high note.
Yeah.
For sure. So I'll say two things that I want to talk about too, along with everything we talked about with your senior year. Number one, the team state tournament during your junior year. You got two great matches during the team state tournament. So you wrestled Waconia and you kept it to a major decision in the team semifinal, which was really a big start for us as well. Just really got the team rolling, and we just really put it to Waconia that year, which was really cool after losing to them earlier in the year. And then in the team state finals, you went out there against the returning state champ from St. Michael, battle him tough. Call didn't go your way, but once again, really stepped up for the team big your junior year at the team state tournament. So just wanted to highlight that about you, Gavin. And one more thing I want to highlight too about you is you alluded to it a little bit, but the bi-state tournament your senior year, once again, I don't even know did you even have a seed going into the bi-state tournament or no?
No.
Okay, so you didn't have a seed. You just started rolling through this tournament, and one cool match was probably wasn't that cool to start off with, but you showed up to the table. You just had your headgear in your hand, and these Wisconsin refs are always trying to get us. But he called you for not coming to the mat prepared or something along those lines. Gave a point to the other kid because of it. So you start off down 1-0 with about 10 seconds left in the match, maybe even a little less than that. You were down by 2. You had a nasty lat drop to tie up the match, bring it to overtime, and then you got the takedown in overtime, and that was the play. So to me, Gavin, that's one match that really sticks out for me. It doesn't really sum up your whole high school career, but really sums up a lot of your senior year where you just had that grit and that determination. Like we talked about, that first 3 years really prepared you for that moment. You did a great job then. You ended up placing at the bi-state, so that match was just a catalyst for you to place. And then your confidence the rest of the year was just sky high for the rest of the season as well. Really cool things I want to highlight about one thing from your junior year and one thing from your senior year.
Okay.
So you wrap up your career with Hastings High School. Let's talk about how you ended up at Southwest State, and then let's get a recap of your redshirt freshman year so far at Southwest State.
Sounds good. So I got this opportunity to wrestle here at SMSU because I was obviously looking to go to college, and the bigger picture too would be getting an education and compete in a sport at the same time at the college level. I didn't care what division it was, D3, D2, NAIA, JUCO, whatever. It didn't matter. And well, I told Blake, if you go to this Fargo camp at the U of M or whatever, and you see any coaches, like, give them my number. And he found the SMSU head coach, Chase Jackson, and assistant coach, Dylan Bushow. He gave them my number. They texted me probably like a week later, and then had a little talk, came on my visit. The rest was set in stone. And then my redshirt season, right about now, looking back at it, I say I had a lot of ups and then somewhat a lot of downs. Injuries are definitely a factor in college wrestling, but I'd say I got a lot better considering when I got here first practice, I got mauled. Like I had such a high confidence coming in that room, and after that first practice, I was just torn down. And now I look back at it, and I'm a completely different wrestler, and I'm proud to say I got a lot better here.
Any highlights from any of the opens or any tournaments that you went to this year?
I would like to say I wish I did a little bit better in the open tournaments this year. Rochester, I went 1-2. Not the greatest start of my season, but once again, this is my first tournament, so got to keep your head high. And I could say I could have wrestled a little bit better there, and then I couldn't wrestle some other opens considering I had a really bad high sprained ankle and a kind of bum knee on the same leg. But and then my next tournament I got to wrestle was the last open of the season in Moorhead, Minnesota, and I took sixth. I wrestled some pretty good kids. Wrestled Brandon Board from Augustana, and then I also wrestled Leo Edblad from St. Cloud State. Both very two tough kids, and came out with sixth. Not too bad. Would have liked obviously been higher up on that podium, wrestle some more of the good guys in that bracket, but at the end of the year, I'm still happy where I am.
Perfect. So you talked about that first practice, getting your butt kicked. I know definitely for me going into college, when you have a practice like that, or you make that transition from high school to college, there's a lot of doubts that go in your mind and you run in what you're doing here and if you're ever going to make it. But let's talk about the differences between high school and college. And then let's give a recap and some goals that you have for the next 4 years.
Okay. So the difference between high school and college is it's not that big of a difference. College, it's a little bit more free. You have your own free time to walk in whenever and get a individual practice in with a teammate or a coach or get tips and tricks and learn your way around the ropes in college. Where high school, it's you practice at this time all the time and you do whatever at this time and it's set in stone pretty much for that specific time. And college is obviously going to be a little bit more intense. It's not too much longer at practice wise as like high school would be. Like sometimes I remember our senior year, we'd practice for 60 minutes and it'd be done, or even 30 minutes, just that quick. But the time really doesn't change here. We usually practice around an hour, 30 minutes, and then warm up days are 30 minutes. So it's pretty much the same thing. It's a lot more intense though, and conditioning's I'd say a lot harder than it
Mhm.
is in high school. Other than that, it's not much of a change.
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest differences too is the quality or the caliber of people that you're practicing with. Maybe it's not the biggest change for you because, as we alluded to earlier, you're practicing with Trey and Blake Beisel almost every single day. Obviously, two Division I kids that you're grinding with every single day. So then, when you make that transition to a Division II, a Southwest State, I would say the breadth, the overall practice partners are going to be a lot better that we have in a room. But as you said, yeah, the practices are just as hard as we have usually. Practice partners, for the most part, are really good that we have in high school, but it's just a lot more kids. There's really no easy matches or easy goes when you get to the college room. So it's Blake. I had Blake on here last week, Gavin, and he talked about not getting his first takedown for almost a month. And it's just a really big change from, consistently scoring on every single person in the high school room to going a whole month without a takedown. Everything else goes into it. It's pretty much the same, but it's those practice partners that are a lot better. And that's why so many people get so much better when they go to college right away.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to say, go along with Blake. I used to senior year, I used to roll around with, not the name drop, but I used to take him down like 50 times every go, and now I get here right away and I get maybe one takedown a week. It's the people you wrestle here is obviously going to change because everyone's at your level
Mm.
here compared to in high school where everyone's different and starting wherever they've started.
For sure. So you have 4 more years left here at Southwest State. Let's give some goals or a preview of what you hope to accomplish in the next 4 years.
Biggest goal for sure. It's a high one, but I'd like to be on top of that podium, whether it's regionals, NCs, don't matter. I'd like to win a couple opens here and there. We don't have a lot of guys winning opens anymore. So I'd like to try and do that. Another goal, obviously get stronger, faster, improve all my attributes as best as possible. Also, another goal I'd like to do is build a stronger mindset. Coming in here, I thought I was like super mentally tough and prepared for, I don't know, Concord College. But as soon as I got here, I like realized I wasn't that kind of person. And throughout the season, I tried my best to change myself. And at the end of the year, people are saying, "Hey, man, you've changed." So I guess just develop my mind more and be as tough as possible.
Perfect. Gavin, that's everything I got for you tonight. Last thing I always do in every interview is just turn the microphone over to our guest. Anything else you want to get off your chest? Any shout outs you want to give? Anything else I didn't talk about that you want to talk about? Like I said, the microphone is yours and you can go for it.
Guess a couple of things I like to say is just for, I don't know, whoever's in whatever sport, doesn't matter what sport you're in, who you are, where you started, but just take every day for granted and just know that every day you have a chance to get better and don't skip reps and trust the process, I guess. It's the best thing I
Perfect.
can say.
Any shout outs to Mason Lambert or anyone like you would like to give you said a shout out
Um,
to?
big shout out to, I'd say big shout out to my family, obviously practice partners, the Beisel family, um, coaches here at Southwest, everyone who's obviously got me to this point. Family's a big key. I'd say my family's shaped me for the person who I am today. So yeah, for sure them. And then the second family, the Bisels. So yeah, I'd for sure say them. High school coaches too. Like yourself, LeClay, Kranz, McBride, Gatto for his 1 year, Eichmann, Mr. Veit, both Veits, all of them.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Gavin.
Yep, of course.